To help provide more analysis about the most recent updates concerning the ongoing war between Israel and Iran, the international factors, as well as the international pressures, we're joined by Mr. Ibrahim Ad-Darawi, a writer and analyst. Welcome, sir, to Think Tank. Firstly, sir, let's start off by asking, with Netanyahu's security cabinet meeting, how fragile really is the Israeli national unity at this point?
I think the Israeli unity has been fragile since the beginning of the war on Tehran. There is a real division inside Israel regarding that. Netanyahu is getting Israel involved, and as well as the United States, if they actually enter the war against Iran, especially that the United States experience in Iraq or Afghanistan were really bad experiences, and when Trump and Biden came to office, they took themselves out of this dilemma that they have been in for tens of years. Now, a ground offensive on Iran will not be easy, but the United States will use nuclear powers and other things that can be very risky for the entire Middle East region, including the Israeli existence. So that's why the security bodies inside Israel warned Netanyahu from hitting Tehran. Tens of years ago, there were warnings that Tehran wanted an engagement with Israel to be an excuse to activate the use of nuclear power, not for peaceful uses but for military uses. And that's why the Israeli Mossad or Shabak warned the Israeli leadership regarding this. And I think today the division we're witnessing after Iran was able to hit Israel and actually cause real casualties, we're talking about a next phase of severe division inside Israel. Also, when we talk about Israel, we shall mention a few points. There is a division between the United States administration and in this specific time because of the Israeli strikes on Iran, or because of giving Israel the bomb to strike nuclear reactors in Iran. There are also divisions against Benjamin Netanyahu that he chose the war on Tehran for personal reasons. And in spite of the opposition and all the opposing opinions, all of these agitate the tensions. Also, the strong strike directed from Iran to Israel, and they're studying the rocket that hit 4 places at once. And this reminds us of the Russian use of such weapons with Ukraine. There is a lot of outrage and concerns on the European side, and we have the Friday meeting tomorrow with the foreign affairs ministers of Iran and his counterparts from Germany, Britain and France. And there will be mediation in this specific timing. Cairo is also working on a different lobby from Cairo and the Gulf states and some other Islamic nations to talk the United States out of engaging in this war and to resume the peaceful negotiations as the sole resolution for such conflict.
Well, sir, I mean, as you said there, sir, that basically that the division in Israel is mainly due to these strikes, but also I suppose the Israelis did not expect this response from the Iranians. Now, Iran claims successful strikes on key Israeli military sites. As you've said rightfully, today there were major strikes. Is this strike considered some sort of retaliation, a symbolic victory, or is it tactical and important for the Iranian side, especially after Putin and Xi Jinping condemned Israel over its strikes on Iran?
We shall stress that Israel is the one who started the war, and they shall bear the implication of such action. And if we view the Israeli and the Iranian strikes, the Israeli strike was the strongest so far because they killed the first true leaders. But the Iranian strike, of course, caused harms and casualties inside Israel and took 5 million Israelis into shelters and created an economic military crisis inside Israel today. I think this open war might be the main reason of division uh, between the Mossad and Shabak and the defense minister affiliated with Benjamin Netanyahu's government and the far right ministers such as Modric and Ben Gvir. I think it's all about who's going to last longer and direct more strikes. Israel wants one strike war, and Tehran wants a depletion war, a long-term war, and we're all aware that Iran has strategies and tactics for such long-term war. And let's ask the question: why Israel actually struck Iran? Because they had the green light from the United States, and Trump was convinced with this to actually eliminate the nuclear reactors with one strike. And if that was to happen, this was gonna be in the favor of Trump, and this goal was not achieved. The internal U.S. division created a crisis as the Israeli will not be able to take the Iranian strikes for longer, and the Iranian side also threatened to close the Hormuz passage and to strike the U.S. military bases in the region. We're talking about 40,000 U.S. soldiers in tens of military bases scattered across the Middle East. You're talking also that Iran threatened that they have the ability to reach 10 of these military bases in 1 minute. And I think most of those are located in the Gulf states. Russia itself threatened or actually informed the United States and Israel that they have atom scientists in the Iranian nuclear reactor sites, and the peaceful path should be the only solution for this crisis.
We get your point there, Mr. Abdullawi, but we also would like to greet our guests here as well, Dr. Abdel Nasser Al-Makki, political science professor, joining us from Cairo. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on Think Tank. Now, I'm sure you caught some of what Mr. Abdullawi just said. Now, Iranian missile strikes, or the barrage of missiles that have struck Israel, mark a shift in the Iranian strategy. We haven't seen this before between both sides, I suppose. In your opinion, do you believe that this is some sort of desperate gamble from the Iranian side, or is it a strategic outcome for the Iranians to hit Israel with this barrage of missiles, given that the Israelis are also hitting the Iranians with crippling strikes?
Good evening for you and your guest. I'm from Jericho. I'm talking from Jericho in West Bank.
I apologize for that. Yes.
For your questions about from this matter, I think that because the Israelis started the war and started to strikes Tehran and many of the Iranian country cities with missiles, and also so this is something that Iranian couldn't stay not doing anything, and because of this, the Iranian, that they respond to the Israeli, and their response was hard and difficult for the Israelian. The Israeli wasn't, that even expected that the Iranian will, that will hit the Israeli cities, and especially Tel Aviv and also Jerusalem. So it was something that Israeli, that wasn't, that's even expected this. This is maybe the largest missiles that have been, that sent Israeli cities. Even there is a war before maybe 30 years from Iraqi missiles and also from the Hezbollah and Hamas. But that the missiles of Iran is different. It's a big and it's that have explosions with a big quantity of explosions. So they hit the Israeli cities and make destructive and destroy many of the buildings, and especially as you know, before the 3 days ago, they had Ramat Gan, they had Bat Yam, especially Bat Yam, and also Weizmann Institution for the research. And today also they had, that's Tel Aviv, and also they had the petroleum oil in
painful strikes,
Haifa.
basically. So as you said, that these are very painful strikes from the Iranians. It's not something that is weak or expected from the Israeli side. They didn't expect this to happen at all. Now, there's also the risk of a regional spillover due to what's happening right now. And tomorrow there's a meeting between the Iranians and some European counterparts.
Yes.
Do you believe that European diplomacy can still contain this crisis, or has Washington's looming shadow already decided the fate of the region?
Okay, I will continue just one before going to the meeting tomorrow in Geneva between Arakji, the foreign minister of Iran. I think this is not, that the Iranian is something that have been prepared from the beginning that they will have maybe some strike from the Israelis. So it is something to say that it's strategic shift from Iranian to the Israeli, and they send it to them message that they are not like the others and they have been good prepared, and the Iranian forces is prepared and ready for any Israeli aggression against Iran. This is one thing. The other thing concerning the meeting tomorrow, I think this is the last chance before going to the maybe regional war or before the intervention of the United States of America. As you know, President Trump didn't say anything about that he will go ahead with the bombing and participate with Israel against Iran. He said that maybe yes, maybe not. And he is just waiting for the diplomacy, that channel in order to go ahead with this channel, the diplomacy. And I think the Iranian, they send a message to the European and to the American that they want to ceasefire. They didn't want to go to ahead with, this war, because this war have been forced them to participate by the Israeli. So I think, yes, we have a chance tomorrow. And I don't know about, I don't think that maybe that there is preconditions, new preconditions, like what Trump said that the Iranians should give up, because the leaders of Iran, the Murshid, said that he will not give up and he will continue with this war. So I think maybe they will reach to consensus or compromise for maybe to resolution, then maybe to or settlement. Return back to the that negotiation before between the Arakji, which was before the Israeli intervention and start the strikes, Tehran. So yes, tomorrow I think this is the last chance, and I just want to say something, and it's a big, that's even comments in this regards that I think there is many things that maybe Iran will do it, or they will many tools like about the questions of Hormuz. I think Iranian could use this tool in order that as a one tool of the war against that Israeli and United States of America, if the American will intervention and go ahead with Israeli to against Iranian. So yes, I think we will wait tomorrow to see about what will happen in the meeting, and I hope that this meeting will, that reach a ceasefire and to start a new negotiation round between America and between Iranian.
Okay, Mr. Adowi, if we could ask you here a bit about like the media narrative itself. Now, how has it shaped the global perception to what's happening between the Iranians and the Israelis, given that Iran today, damaged a hospital in Israel due to a strike, a bomb strike there? The way that the media or international media has handled it is that they have defined it as a war crime, as opposed to justifications to bombings of hospitals in Gaza. Do you see that the lines or impunity plays a role when Israelis are involved?
I think that bombing this hospital today, Iran itself said that they were not targeting the hospital, they were targeting a military site next to the hospital, and I think there are military and nuclear sites. It's in the perimeter of this location. I'm surprised about the statements by Smotrich and Ben Gvir that the Nazi Iranians are killing patients in hospitals, and this is a military
hospital. I mean, isn't this sort of the same idea of double standards? I mean, when the Israelis bomb hospitals in Gaza, it's justified, but when it happens to them, it's no longer justified.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I've been saying. We have 35 hospitals in the Gaza Strip that were completely destroyed. The patients who were killed on their hospital beds. Every day we're talking about the United Nations and the World Health Organization saying that Israeli soldiers destroyed hospitals and killed all the infants and the elderly inside these hospitals and in the intensive care units in the Gaza Strip. We're talking about 35 hospitals completely destroyed, with the patients and the accompanying people. And when Ben Gvir talks and describes the Iranian as Nazis, he should know that he is the one behaving like a Nazi. The West now is trying to get a clearer picture of what is happening in Gaza and now in Tehran. Everyone rejects the Iranian position of a nuclear weapon, except for peaceful uses, including the Arab world, by the way. But what is surprising, or what is strange here, that the one actually carried the strike is a state in possession of a nuclear weapon for tens of years. We have had requests for tens of years to have a nuclear inspection on the Daimona reactor that is now completely in full operation, and they have the complete nuclear bomb.
Well, sir, I apologize for cutting you off there, but we're running out of time for the show, so let's get Dr. Mickey's opinion here. Now, what does Israel's multi-front cyber and aerial campaign inside Iran reveal about the long-term strategy in the region?
I think for this matter, I think the Israeli is trying, that's for the civilians and also especially in the region. And what they did in Iranian is that they want to, that's to, in advance, they want to send messages to the Iranian, that's leaders that they are strong, and they want to even try to destroy the Iranian even capability before they started the war. So yes, I think this is the thing about the Israeli, even in multi-fronts, and especially for the Iran, Yemen, and also for Lebanon and Syria and for the Gaza. So the Israeli, yes, I think the Israeli, they could successful in this Iranians, that's a campaign. And what they did in the first day of the aggression is that they succeeded to kill all the leaders from the Iranian, and also they lead the war from the beginning. But after that, that's changed.
Okay, Dr. Abdel Nasser Mekhi, a political science professor, joining us from Jericho. Thank you so much. And Mr. Ibrahim Darawi, a writer and political analyst from Cairo. Thank you both for your insights and your valuable discussion.